What's good, y'all? Welcome to Hope Academy, another edition. This is going to be another dope class number 48. So if you've been here for a while, I know it seems like it's gone fast, right? And there's been so much knowledge that has been poured in. I just want you to sit with that for a second. And you've been hanging in, you've been going in for the long game. And so what we do here a lot of times is not only do we go over and teach new information, but we try to come at the same information in different angles, because hopefully in one of those angles we get it. And so tonight we're going to go over some really good topics. I'm solo today, so let's all wish Nana success wherever he is this week, and he'll be back next week to teach class. We're going to swap, so I'm going to teach class full this week, and he's going to teach class full next week. So we're going to dive deep into some more topics, to the book, to the Ascension of Effectiveness. We're going to have some exercises, have lots of Q&A. So we're going to get real deep today. So I'm pretty stoked about the class. So before we get started though, there's a pattern within all of our Hope superstars. We got 2 birthdays. So let's wish Shabisha a happy birthday. Hey. Our wonderful Shabisha.
Thank you.
And Jasadi. Let's go. Hey, man, it's like
Yesterday.
It's like power comes in April, huh?
It does.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I think.
Well, we appreciate both of you guys, what you do, what you bring, the knowledge, the help. Hope wouldn't be the same without your presence, that's for sure. So we love y'all as family.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I wish I had some like Jasadi jokes like Nana have, but I ain't got none. Plus, it looked like you slimming down anyway. You must be in the gym.
Yeah.
What you been doing?
I've been in the gym.
I could tell.
Yeah, I have.
There you go.
Yeah, 5 days a week.
There you go. See?
You know what I'm saying?
Now you can't talk shit. All right. Well, let's rock.
I started it.
So the title is called Ascension. Fitting title. Because that's our goal. Our goal is not to be the same. It's not to be in the same place. It's not to stay the same. It's to ascend to some level higher than we're at right now. If we're honest with ourselves, that's what we're constantly doing. That's what being progressive is ascending, right? So let's start with the first slide. Like always, we're going to do some recaps, but this is going to center around the Ascension of Effectiveness. Bottom level is motivation, right? Mm-hmm. Motivation and inspiration. Those are emotional components to how we have the ability to progress and ascend in anything. So these right here are the building blocks to your growth and your success in anything. So, but it starts with motivation and inspiration. So after talking to a couple of people during the week as well, I want to clarify a couple things. I do not want to demonize motivation and or inspiration. They are absolutely necessary for us. We need them. They're critical. They're super important. We have to have them. You have to be motivated. Mm-hmm. You have to be inspired. Your purpose comes through those 2 layers. Your will to live, your desire to live, your purpose, all the things that drive you and push you, your emotions that push you, that get you to get up, to have an idea, to have a drive or desire, that's all down there. So you got to be motivated. And everybody's different. Everybody has different types of motivation and inspiration depending on how you're built. So me personally, I've always been the emotional guy. I'm an emotional guy. I'm the youngest of 8. So I'm emotional. I as a kid, I fight, scream, bite. I didn't get no attention because I'm the last one. So I'm all out there trying to get mines. So my makeup, the way my brain works, the things that drive me, the chemicals that flow through my brain, all those things, they're specific to me. So in order to feel my motivation level up, there's certain things I have to do. So knowing yourself is important, and we're going to talk about that later. But having an understanding of what drives you, right? You need motivation. Like we said last week, some people's motivation is their kids. Some people's motivation is getting their mom out of the hood. There's a lot of professional athletes who wouldn't be professional athletes if their mama wasn't stuck in the hood. Right? Mm-hmm. Some motivation is just being being a black American and knowing that there were slaves that came before us and thinking we have a responsibility. Some of that's motivation. Right? So here's the deal. Some people are driven more through motivation and some are driven more through inspiration. The sad statistic is most people need to be driven by motivation, by negative things than positive ones. So if I said, if you do your homework, you're going to get an A, for most people, that's weaker than if you don't do your homework, I'm going to give you a whooping. Mm-hmm. Most people are driven by the need to avoid pain than the desire to gain pleasure. Now, some people are, this is not 100%, but most people statistically. So as entrepreneurs, we need that formula. We need both of those boxes to be full. So we need to always figure out what motivates me and what inspires me. This is where, in the inspiration category, this is where your spiritual beliefs lie. Inspiration, in spirit, right? In spirit. So this is where your spiritual beliefs lie. And inspiration is something that can lead you down a particular path, whatever the rules are for that particular religion, the values, and every religion has their motivation and inspiration. Meaning, if you don't follow this book, you're going to be in hell, or you're going to burn, or you're going to die, or whatever the pain is for not listening. And a lot of them have, if you do follow this book, you got a good place to go, right? You got heaven, you got certain things. So there's a reward system in spiritual beliefs too. But there's also something just as powerful, and that's internal. Because as an entrepreneur, a lot of times you don't want to be driven by outside gifts or pain. You have to have internal fortitude to keep going. Especially in them dark places where you don't see a heaven and you don't see a hell, because you may be so deep in your journey that you're way far from the pain and far from the pleasure too, and you don't know where you are. That's where it comes your internal, your in spirit. So those key things come from your self-value, your self-love, your self-value, and your self-love. Meaning always working on yourself internally and raising the value of yourself internally, also working on your self-love. If you work on those two things and continue to always increase those two things within that inspiration category, then you'll be inspired by self too. Does that make sense? This is kind of fuzzy, but this is entrepreneur talk. The reason being is because the entrepreneur journey is a journey like no one else. This journey is a cold journey, the true entrepreneur journey. So you're going to have ups, downs, peaks, and valleys, and times where nobody's there. There's also going to be times where people you love the most, or people you love, or people you use for inspiration and motivation don't even fuck with you. Then what? If you're working hella hard to get your mom out the hood and that was your prime motivation to be at your best, and something happens to your mom, or she don't fuck with you no more, or you got her out the hood, you bought her that house, but you're 30. What is it, over? Now what's going to motivate you? You got to find something new. That's why internally, you always got to be working on your self-value and your self-love. Self-value and self-love. Self-love is always creating presuppositions within yourself. Why do I love myself? Ask yourself those questions. Why do I love myself? What are five things about me that I love? If you're constantly renewing and reminding yourself about the things you love about yourself, then you create a strong foundation for inspiration and motivation. So when you do go to church, or when you do see a pastor, or when you do read the Bible, or when you do see a video that makes you cry because you saw somebody come from rags to riches and they win in the end, the external things are extra to you. The external things become extra to you. Because we gotta be careful about what we use for external motivations and inspirations if that's all we got. Does that make sense? It's because there was a time where I had an idol. Man, and I was like, I'm gonna pattern myself after this person. And I had my inspiration, motivation game so tight, and I'm going. And I met him one day. And he was a bitch. Like, if I could use that word, I would. You bitch ass. Broke my little heart, right? Broke my little heart because my idol turned out to be somebody who was like a weasel. So what do? You go soak and cry. Is it over for you? No. You got to be able to start internally. Use the external. If something fails you from the outside, you got to still be able to keep it moving. Because at the end of the day, most of the things that you're going to use for motivation and inspiration, they're human too. Right? They're human too. They make mistakes too. They fall too. Whether it's your pastors, your spiritual leaders, business leaders, whoever. You don't know who the next Bill Cosby or Puffy or whoever it is that ends up getting taken down in certain situations. So you have to always know that people are human. Side note, if we celebrating and we gossiping and all that about Puffy and all that, never celebrate the downfall of somebody. That's terrible. Don't celebrate the downfall of people. Because a couple of things are happening. That man is still a part of our culture, black culture, right? Second thing is this. We're also teaching our subconscious mind to be afraid to reach out for things in fear that the same thing may happen to us. So if you give anybody grace, you also can give yourself grace. That's the gift you give when you give someone grace or empathy or understanding, is that you also subconsciously give it to yourself. So as an entrepreneur-minded thinking, a higher level thinking individual, when everybody's over here zigging, then you zagging. I don't engage in that. You know why? That man's human. That man's human. And all of us are human. And I never celebrate the downfall of somebody, even if it's my enemy. And that is a practice for you. Back on track. Inspiration and motivation. So, who has a rhythm or a routine in here that gets them pumped up in the day? Get them hyped for the day. Get them excited for the day. Does anybody? Silence? What is it? What do you do?
I do meditation and journaling in the morning for the first thing when I get up.
Dope. So how does it work?
10 minutes, 5 if I'm rushing, but 10 at least 5 minutes, but mostly 10 minutes. And then the journaling is gratitude, what I'm gonna do for the day, and then like 10 minutes of writing.
Why do you continue to do it?
Man, it keeps me on track. Yeah, like I'm the most productive and the most energized when I have my routines, and then that plus working out is more of a energy thing and a mental thing than actually the physical.
So do you notice a difference in your day when you do it and you don't do it?
Completely.
Really?
Yeah, man, listen.
All right, give me a number. So the days you don't do it, what number on average are you? And then the days you do it, what number are average?
I missed a workout this morning, so I'm struggling right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm at a 5.5 right now.
5.5, 6 when you don't do it.
Yeah.
And then what are you when you do?
I would say like 8. Yeah, 8.5.
Okay, so damn, that's good. So check this out. Do you think just on motivation alone, just on that level alone, if he never changes his skill level, never changes strategy or data, but those difference in 2 points, can you see the difference in path that his life will go from them 2 points a day? 2 points, just 2. But a 6 to an 8. Think about this. If a big deal pops up during the day and they call you, hey, Silence, I got a deal. Can we negotiate this right now? Sure, but you're a 5.5 that day. Versus if you're an 8 that day. Or hey, Silence, I need you to shoot this for me. And it's a potentially big client, and you're a 5.5 with that camera in your face shooting. You think the beauty, the angles you catch, the crispiness of it, those 2 points, you think it's going to affect the quality output of your work? Hell yeah. Think about that. 2 points is huge. That's a D and a B. The 5.5 is an F, cuz it's an F plus. So you go from an F plus to a B just by having an inspiration motivation routine. And some of y'all confused as to why some people is performing and you not. Same intelligence. Maybe you might be even smarter. You might be even more skilled. But if you're a 7 in intelligence and I'm a 5, but my morning routine bumps me up 2 points and you don't have one, over time I'm creeping on you. You don't realize the importance of this. It's crazy important. My employees don't know. My employees probably subconsciously know the days that I miss mine. They feel it. They feel it. Because it's so critical that I have one. Because it's the difference between, it's a critical difference between making it or not making it that day. Partial success or full success, and all those add up. All of them add up. So we all are energy, balls of emotion. We're all irrational. Like, that's why this is the foundation, because we are, like the book says, predictably irrational. We're illogical human beings. We're emotional human beings. So if we can't master the emotional part of our business, the rest of the shit don't matter. The rest of the shit don't matter. So having a morning routine is not just about we up here saying it. It is literally the difference in paths between success and failure. The ones that I know, the entrepreneurs that I know that perform high, they all have routines. They have routines. Some sort of formulation of one. And it gets the motivation and inspiration stuff to the max points that it can be. I meditate, I read, I stretch, I work out. I do gratitude work, affirmations, whatever. I visualize, all those things. The problem that we always said is that those things in itself is not the solution. Those things fill the box. And that prepares you, maximizes you for the next steps above you. But it's necessary.
I'm just curious, for the people in the room who have the routines that live in the house with other people, how do you not let the presence of other people knock your routines off? Because people bring energy. We had a good day, we had a bad day, I'm up early, I'm up late, we did this yesterday, we did that yesterday. Like, I remember having routines when I was living by myself, and then when my daughter moved back home and now she's there with the baby, my routines have gone to hell because the environment is different from day to day. So it's hard, because I'm already not a routine prone person, to get a routine going. It's easy for me to have a routine when nobody else is around, but when I have people in my space, it's very difficult.
Dope question. You want to answer it? I can answer it after.
Okay.
Wait, there's a couple hands too. How about we start? Yeah.
I don't have any kids, so I can't answer any of that for you, but I could say, like, with my partner, just communication and boundaries. Like, I'm very communicative about what I'm doing, why this is beneficial for us, and these are my boundaries and my expectations. And I just, I just tell her to her straight, and I if she has some feedback, I'll listen to that, and then I say, well, hey, this is what I need. And then we just go from there. 99% of the time, she's like, cool, you got it. So. Oh, also, the caveat of that is when she sets up those same boundaries, I have to respect that as well.
Shabisha.
I don't know if it's, so I'll add to that. So I just recently moved after being in a really weird space where most of what I was doing, because it was so prolonged, it deteriorated pretty badly. And so now that I am not back, but now that I'm out of that phase, two things have happened. One, I'm in a different place, so some of what I was doing before isn't really working as well as it used to. And so to the point that Court made about you have to adjust, if you live in the house with other people, what you were doing before is just simply not going to work. And so there is like the part of me that has had to learn to like really embrace reality because that's not, your environment plays a large part. So when I lived with my family, it wasn't sitting in my room. It was going on walks. So I was getting up at dawn and walking on the water. Like I find the next spot, right? So if that spot isn't available anymore, where's the next richest spot for me? Because like that for me is so grounding. Although it does take some time to stay on that routine, the benefits of that are so high. So it was just like, okay, well, when I'm alone, these things can work. When I am in this place, how does that need to evolve? And so that, my routines have probably changed like 4 or 5 times. So it's like my responsiveness to what's up for me has been really important.
Yeah, I would say find the pockets, kind of like what Shabisha did. So the reason I'm a radical responsibility because I could have got out and done something, but someone in my house had a bad dream last night, and at 2 a.m. came into my room, and so my 5 a.m. routine was kind of altered.
Hey, your son's back there going like this, side.
Yeah, so but I got, while he was still asleep, I got my the meditation and journaling, but the workout was knocked off. So I just think that what I should have done today, after reflecting, is get a shorter. I can't do the hour and a half joint, but get out and do something. And actually, Shakira, I remember something that she said. Nana's wife said, sometimes you just got to fit in when you can. So a 5-minute meditation on the way to somewhere driving is getting that part in. So I've taken it to heart. So appreciate you, Shakira, because I've done a couple meditations in the car.
Yeah, good answers. To add to what they said, the same. I have 5 people and a dog in my house, and so one thing I've done to mitigate some of it is I wake up earlier. I wake up at 5:30. So wake up at 5:30. It's quiet. Nobody's up yet. First person gets up at 6. So at least I got 30 minutes in total silence. That's where I start my meditation. And then after the meditation, then I'll read, do my my gratitude stretches, little mini workout, and do all my mind stuff, right, to get me ready for the day. Then I go I drop my daughter off, and then I go to the gym. Like that's my, if everything works normal, schedule. But I have like 5 variations in case anything goes wrong or changes or adjust in those situations to make sure I still got to get it in. So all the way down to sometimes y'all may have noticed me walking in here super sweaty because I got to get my workout in. I'm not going to not get my workout in. I'd rather get roasted by y'all like, damn, why Courtney y'all sweaty, than not work out at all. And so it's having a routine, but also having the flexibility to adapt and adjust. So that means, damn, I woke up late, 6:15. What do I, okay, then I got to go to like variation number 4. Hop in the shower, get dressed, go. Then I get to the office, close my doors and say I got a fake meeting and then meditate for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Then maybe go to lunch and hit that gym and listen to an audiobook. Like also it's like be like water, right? Is you got a plan, but also find a way to make it happen. And Scott also set the tone too. Is that you got to set boundaries. You got to let people know this is important to me. And this affects you. So that's what I tell my family. Like, look, if you want me to be a better version of me today, then leave me the fuck alone and let me do my thing. Because those 2 points is going to be the difference between me taking a deep breath and not cussing you out or me cussing you out. So give me my 2 points. So my daughter a long time ago, I would be meditating, sitting in a chair, and I'm in there, like I'm swimming around in space with whoever I'm swimming around with, meditating in my own little space, and then I feel a touch on my hand. I go, what the fuck? And she jumps like, oh, and she's been sitting there the whole time just staring in my face. I'm like, yo, baby, I love you, but this is my time. You got to let me have my time. I'll come get you when I'm done. Plus, you scared the shit out of me. I'm glad I didn't swing. But it's that important. It's that important. It's the difference between you. If I was to say that could cut your time in half to getting to your goals, or by 30%, it can cut your time by 30%. Would it be important to you to do it? Absolutely. But we kind of don't quantify it in time because it's hard to quantify, because you either don't do it and your life is the way it is, and you do it. And if it happens, you're like, well, I don't know if I would have not did it, it wouldn't have happened. But that is not true. What has been working for you so far? Where have you been so far in life? So you having a routine to bring you at your peak in those places every day, that includes some kind of spiritual, having a spiritual outlet, whatever that is. Sometimes we have entered into this big spiritual world where, because of the distrust of religion and churches, a lot of people stop going to church, right? But there also may be a correlation in suicides, because any place in the world where the atheist numbers are the highest, the suicide rates are the highest too. So whether we believe the accuracy of it or not, or if it really happened, did Moses really pick a staff in the ocean? All of that is what it is. We need to believe in something bigger than ourselves. When you believe in something bigger than yourself, your inspiration and motivation gets stronger. So that includes having a spiritual outlet, whatever your religion is. Or if you listen to a church, or watch something on Sunday. Some people would just turn to the church station on Sunday. Whatever, we need something. We need to believe in something bigger than ourselves. That helps your inspiration. Any questions on that? That was dope. Thanks for all the feedback and the input. Next slide. We're still going to stay in this ascension for a little bit, so we're not leaving it, but we just kind of going to leave the motivation and inspiration part. Shabisha.
Know thyself. It is very important to know what moves you and what motivates and inspires you. You can now tinker with your psychology and use those things to keep you operating at functional levels. Observe and take note of your patterns. What pushes your buttons?
This is so important for you. This is one of we'll call it a cheat code. If you can know yourself well enough, then you can have the ability to play with your psychology to keep you at peak levels. We got to understand something about the human brain. Here's something that spectacular about the human brain is that we only know a tenth of a percent of what happens in there. So every book that every scientist has ever written about the brain will only write about a tiny percent of what about it, because they don't know the rest. So there's things about our brain that are spectacular that we don't even know how it works. We don't know why it works because our science haven't caught up to it yet. So that's why the motivation, inspiration parts of yourselves are big. They're important. Because if you have the skill to back up pumping yourself up and getting yourself juiced about something, excited and fired up, and you have the skills and strategy to back it up, man, you're a cold piece. You're a cold piece. But the human brain is powerful, and it leads your body. Well, I take it back. Scientifically, your body and your mind toggle back and forth, leading each other. I don't tell too many stories no more, but this is one that's pretty funny. So when we moved out of Oakland, I had to go to this school. And in the school I went to, it was mandatory that you wrestle. Wrestling was mandatory. Your size group. And me, there's no disrespect to anybody, gender. I like girls. I don't like rolling around on nobody's floor with no dudes. I'm sorry. In short tights. No, I ain't me. I'm cool. Not to like discredit it or wrestling. MMA is dope. But me personally, I don't like touching dudes like that. So I'm like, how do I get out of this? You can't. It's mandatory. You either get an F or you got to do it. So I'm thinking, fuck. So I'm talking to one of my friends. I'm like, what is the options? He's like, look, this is the options. You just whoop their ass as fast as possible, or you get the F. And so he had won the championship the year before. He's like, or you just lose in the very first round. Like, just lose. First matchup, you'll lose the bracket and you ain't got to do it no more. So I'm like, yeah, but I don't like losing either. I ain't like, come on now, I don't like the losing part. So he says, man, just do what I do. He's like, when they put me in that ring, I imagine and I visualize that the person across from me hurt my mom, beat her up badly. I was like, word? All right, I'm going to try it. So I get in the ring, and I can tell the person on the other side, because he was looking at me like, what the fuck did I do? Like, what did I do? Because I got into that mode, and when they said go, like, I tried to rip that little boy in two pieces. Done, over, pinned him, whatever. So I'm like, that's dope. The way the brain works in the psychology to where I really thought that happened, and the motivation and inspiration that provided the action to do that, crazy. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the bracket. Next bout, same thing. And these are quick, like 20 seconds. I'm almost in tears when they say go, because I'm such rage. I'm a mama's boy. Like, I'm a mama's boy. Protector of my mom. So second round, third round. So I'm running through these kids. So I end up in the championship, and guess who the person I have to wrestle against? The dude who told me it. It's me and him. So that cancels it out because we both using the same tool, and he ends up beating me in the championship, right? Because he was just a better wrestler. Mm-hmm. But when I was in 8th grade, it taught me like, damn, like imagining something can turn on and activate some kind of mechanism that makes me more aggressive, more stronger, more better, to the point to where I can change my outcomes. So that's why we don't discredit the motivation, inspiration part. That works. The problem is motivational speakers make a lot of money pumping people up in classes and in seminars and send them out there in the world with no skill, no knowledge, no skill, no nothing. So you run around with this energy that you can take over the world and you really can't do shit because you ain't been taught nothing. So you as a person, as you grow, you know your patterns. Your patterns are broken up and dictated around your upbringing, your trauma, the things you've been through, your personal makeup. It's who you are, and you know how to press your own buttons. If you learn how to press your own buttons to get you in places and do certain things and overcome certain humps, you use yourself. You become the controller of yourself to get to where you want to go. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Next slide. So the question is, what do you know what pushes your buttons? Do you know the things that push your buttons? Yo.
Wow.
What pushes your buttons? What pushes your buttons? Do you know? Or do you just like float through life without looking, thinking, paying attention to anything? You know what pushes your buttons. You know what gets to you. You know what things make you go from 0 to 100. You know what things make you laugh, cry. Mm-hmm. You know what things make you flash. You know what things make you go hard, make you pump you up, give you motivation, make you drive hard. Know those things. Do you know them? How can you, like, the game that we playing in life, this is a big game. This entrepreneurship game is a big game. I was talking to Jordan earlier, and I was saying, did you know that you want to play the 1% game, meaning you have a number in your head of how much money you want to make. I want to be a millionaire, multimillionaire, whatever. If you make $11 million, you're in the 1%. $11 million. It's 11. So that means if you make $11 million, you're in the 1% of the U.S. You're lower than that in the world. You understand? So like the game that we're trying to play, entrepreneurship game, this is a big game. You got to know the details of yourself. You got to know it. You got to study yourself. We read all these books. Listen to all these podcasts. Listen to all these audiobooks. But do you listen to yourself? Know who you are? Have you read the manual of you? You got to know the manual of you. And this slide right here, this is the foundation of it all. What is your relationship with reality? What is your relationship with reality? We in some weird times, cuz reality is skewed in a lot of places. But one thing that we as entrepreneurs can't do is shuffle our relationship with reality. We can't. Because you can't pay bills with hopes and dreams. You can't pay employees with inspiration. You can't pay them with affirmations. that check won't clear. So you have to have a firm, strong relationship with reality. What's your relationship with it? If do you go into a spiral of depression when somebody tells you the truth? Got to ask yourself that. Let's go next slide. So there's two types of realities. Go ahead, Shabisha.
Objective reality is anything that can be measured the same by anyone. And it's physical things like an orange or shoes or something like that. And then subjective reality is what you believe. Others can believe the opposite and have just as strong a position. The glass is half empty or half full.
Okay. Objective reality.
How much closer do you want it to be?
I'm sitting here in front of this camera.
This is close.
That's a camera. You're Kaja, right? Objective reality.
Try this.
No one can argue. We're standing on land. We're breathing in air, partially nitrogen, if we're going to get really specific, nitrogen and oxygen and argon and a couple other things, but mostly oxygen. And that's what we're breathing. So objective reality, anything that can be measured. So that means if I pull out some measuring tape and measure this cup, and silence comes and measures the cup with measuring tape too, that's standard measuring tape, the degree, the inches will be the exact same. That's objective reality. So our relationship with objective reality has to be solid. It cannot be anything but solid. I'm sorry, we don't get the luxury. If we have a job, then we can have a skewed relationship with objective reality and still be cool. Because that's the world where you can say, well, in my mind, I'm doing a great job. And you can talk your boss into that. In my mind, I'm doing a great job. You don't get to in my mind in entrepreneurship. You don't get to do that. There is no in my mind, because it either translates, it converts, or it doesn't. The customers either buy your product or their service, or they don't. Ain't no in between. So you have to have objective reality strong. Well, I liked it. Man, didn't nobody give a fuck whether you liked it or not? Did the customers like it? Did the customers buy it? You liking it has zero effect. Now, like I said, in the working world, you can skew objective reality all day. If you're a powerful orator, you can speak. If you're good at negotiations, manipulations, you're attractive. There's all sorts of tools you can use with a job, and you can skew objective reality all you want. Outside of your job, you can skew objective reality all you want. But as an entrepreneur, man, it better be exactly what it is in your mind to what the outside world sees. And you gotta line it up. Gotta line it up. If you don't line it up, then you'll lose and you'll not understand why you're losing. I know how people, I can tell by a person who has a extremely skewed objective reality and they think they should have blown up. I should have been blown up. And you look at their product and you know why they didn't blow up. Shit is trash. Shit is trash. It's a skewed version of objective reality. You got to line it up. And it goes back to, can you be honest with yourself? Mm-hmm. If your motivation and inspiration is strong, you can be honest with yourself. If your motivation and inspiration is weak, objective reality comes through and it sends you spiraling down into depression. Because you have shallow motivation and inspiration. It's too shallow. So anything negative, that is like your foundation. It's your springboard. Things that can penetrate through, you don't want it penetrating through your motivation and inspiration. That's why that has to be strong. And truth and honesty, it can pierce. That's why that foundation has to be strong. Because you have to be able to say, I fucked up. I fucked up. Instead of some people like, there was a mistake. Somebody forgot to do X, Y, and Z. And this is what happened. Wait, where did the mistake come from? Who's the source of the mistake? A person. Come on, just did you do it or did you not? Because we got to keep it real. So subjective reality is what you believe. Religions come from subjective reality. Subjective reality is if you believe it. I believe in this. I believe in this. And the thing what makes it subjective is somebody can come on the other side of that and have an argument against it. Doesn't mean that you don't got to believe it no more. It just means it's subjective. So if I believe in Islam and you are Christian, I have just as many arguments about Muslims and Islam faith as you do. If you believe in God and I'm an atheist, I have just as many arguments for atheism than you do Christianity. Subjective. We walk away and we agree to disagree. You ain't changing me. I ain't changing you. That's subjective reality. So know the difference and know the two. An entrepreneur, this is what we have to do. This is what we have to do as entrepreneur. Subjective reality is say, man, I hate Donald Trump. I'm voting for Biden. And that person, I hate Biden. I'm voting for Donald Trump. When Donald Trump was president, this was up, or the economy was up. President Biden ain't do shit. There's arguments for both. As an entrepreneur, what makes you powerful is your ability to say both. If you ask me, is a glass half empty or is it half full? I don't or nothing. An entrepreneur ain't a or anything. So if you're an arguer, you argue in positions, you got some ways to go in terms of entrepreneur thinking. Because if you're objective, then you can see things from all sides. I can see how that could be. Yeah, he did do some, and I can see how he can do some great things on this side. I can see how he did some fucked up things, and I can see that there's some fucked up. You can see all sides. All sides. How many got 2 kids? How many people got 2 kids? Okay, so if one kid comes to you and says, if kid 1 comes to you and say, kid 2 did this to me, do you punish kid 2 just on the word of kid 1? Because there's always 3 sides to it. Kid 1 side, kids 2, and the truth. Parents are great at this game. They're great at this game. I'm not going to listen to the first person coming to me. He hit me. He hit you? Okay, what did you do? Well, I kind of like spit in his face. You spit in his face. Yeah, but I spit in his face because he kicked me. Like it can go back and forth so many layers. That if you're not objective with subjective reality, then you won't see the picture and you end up punishing the wrong people. Next thing you know, you're not fair. Mm-hmm. You're playing favorites. And it affects your relationship with your own kids. And then you grow up like, well, you never liked me no way. You never believed me ever. You talking about when you was 5? Yes, because they hold on to that. Entrepreneurs have to be like those parents that have more than 1 kids. You know what lazy parents would do? everybody getting a whooping. Made you not want to tell ever. Everybody getting a whooping. But I didn't do nothing. Everybody getting a whooping. But it's not my fault. That was my household. Everybody, all 8 of y'all lining up. And everybody mugging me because I'm the one that told. And they like, wait till she leaves. I'm gonna fuck you up some more. Wait, just wait. So, objective reality, subjective reality, and objective reality. Our relationship with reality has to be so tough. It got to be so tough because that's how we navigate. Again, you cannot pay with subjective reality. Don't justify failures. Do not justify failures. It is what it is. It was what it was. I ran an ad. I got 0 hits. Period. I had an event. Nobody showed. Period. So now what can I learn? What can I learn? What can I extract from it so I could do it again? If you jump in immediately to the they hating on me space, or I'm just ahead of my time, or you come up with all kinds of reasons in subjective reality, then you won't learn the lesson and you'll continue staying a failure. We don't have the luxury to play in that space. We want to be not the 99%, we want to be the 1%. And 1%'s got to move different. It's funner sometimes to be in the 99, but we chose this path. So we got to move different. I got to bite my tongue. When I want to say it's not fair, I got to bite my tongue till it bleeds because I feel like saying it sometimes. I bite my tongue till it bleeds.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you. That's really loud. Last week, I learned, so objective reality, like this is what happened. So last week, I learned that women could not legally own a business in this country until 1988, when Reagan passed the laws. And I was like, no way. So I looked that up. Yes way.
Sheesh.
Yes way. Without a male cosigner. So you could do it so long as you had a male cosigner. 1988. I never knew that. That is objective reality. At the same time, I was also watching season 2 of High on the Hog. And although I feel like it moved a little slow in comparison to season 1, it took me forever to get through it. I didn't finish. But they talked about Madam C.J. Walker, who did what she did long before 1988 and Reagan did what he did, right? And so this idea that two things can be true is really sticking out to me, because at the time that the fact which was shared in that space is like, well, that's ridiculous, of course. But the idea of getting maybe too hung up on objective reality, right? Too hung up on like the data, that you don't explore. Like, I guess my question is where objective reality and subjective reality can kind of play together and be a place of exploration for you to see how you can give yourself permission to move past, right? Like, subjective reality is like, so okay, they couldn't, but so I can give myself permission to move past objective reality in some cases and say, well, what could it be, or what could it be, even though there's a history of it, there's also an even longer history of women leading amazing businesses. So in the case like that, or let's say you got data about your business, right? It didn't sell. You might from that say, well, then I should walk away from it. Maybe is always the thing. I guess I'm just trying to, I guess my question for you is like how you, in your business, because you're in a super competitive space and you're in consumer goods, and so how do you at Courtsmith kind of play with objective reality and subjective reality?
Dope question. So here's the deal. I look at objective reality like gravity. That's all. It's gravity, meaning I need to know on Earth, what's our gravity? What's the weight of it? Once I understand the gravity, then I know what muscles I need to get stronger if I want to jump. So my objective doesn't change. So, you know, the idea where some people don't look at their bank account because they scared to see what's in there and they think that it'll magically turn around if they ignore it, right? That's what a lot of people do. That's running from objective reality. Running from objective reality. If you have a target, you have a goal, this is where I want to be. Where's all my gravity? The gravity is, what are all the laws that are out there in place around me? So now I know how to navigate. It's just gravity. So if my goal is to jump 48 inches and gravity is what it is, then now I know how strong I need to be. What are my options? As long as I wake up and I'm breathing, you're not gonna stop me from going after my goal. I'm a wolf. That's what wolves do. So telling me what the objective reality around me don't stop me. It gives me good footing to understand where all my speed bumps and where the gravity is and where the walls are, so I know how to navigate around them. That's all it is. It's not a limitation. It's actually a foundation. Where are my limits? Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen somebody in a squirrel suit jump off a mountain? And they're just hugging the mountain so close. One false move and they're done. But they're flying through the air right along the side of the mountain. You got to know that mountain's there. You also got to know what it'll do to you. You got to know. You got to know what the probabilities are, what the odds are, all of that. So you're not running around looking crazy. Doesn't mean you don't go for it. So if you think about surfers, there's surfers and there's tons of sharks in the water, right? But the odds of a shark biting a surfer is less than 1%. That's why they continue to go out there, because they know the odds, even though they know somebody who may have gotten bit or heard about it. Somebody getting bit is objective reality. It's possible that I can get bit. The objective reality is it's sharks out here. It's sharks out here. So how do I prepare myself the best in case I encounter a shark? Well, there's certain steps you take. You stand your ground. You don't move. And if it gets close to you, you punch it in the nose. You punch it in the nose. You punch it in the nose. That's your best form of survival. But that's in the less than 1% chance of it happening. So I engage with objective reality. I have to on a daily basis, because what it does is it helps you create strategy and options. Mm-hmm. It helps you create options and strategy. And I'm still training my team to this day, because it's a tough thing to get them to get comfortable with reality. They run from responsibility sometimes, or they hide their mistakes sometimes. And I have to teach them that all that does is damage our company. It prevents us from learning the lessons. That's what got us through COVID. curling up and hiding in a ball, of course you do that for a couple weeks. Of course. I done worked hella hard my whole life. This is some bullshit. Then, okay, give me everything. Can you imagine having a extreme medical condition and you're in a hospital bed, you're on a hospital bed, and the doctor that's operating on you lives in subjective reality and not objective reality about you. You need him to know everything. You need him or her to know everything so that you have the best chance of having a successful surgery. So if I was a woman in those times and I want to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. But you got to get a cosigner. Is it a law or is it, hey, come here. I need you to cosign and shut the fuck up and go sit in the corner. And that's it. That's it. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Because without that, then you're fighting the wrong battles. You have a mission. And it always comes with intention. So it has to be strong intention and moving within your intention. Question. Next slide.
For you to be effectively skilled, you must know how to keep it real with yourself at all times.
Now, we say an effectively skilled. This is an ascension of effectiveness. You have to be able to have honest conversations with yourself. Or somebody is going to do it for you, and it's going to be late. It's going to be too late. Or it's going to be right at the edge of being too late. Or having a relationship with reality is what creates the boundaries for you to be successful. If you in a relationship and your partner keeps telling you this ain't working, I do this. You fine. I do this. You fine. And then that partner disappears. And you're like, man, women ain't shit. No, you couldn't keep it real with yourself, and you had a problem with objective reality. Your reality was all subjective. You lived in that world. You created a new identity of the relationship. Of, well, you know what? I identify this relationship as happy. No. That's subjective. Ask her, how do you feel? We have to have a strong relationship with the two. But if you can't keep it real with yourself, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you are unable to keep it real with yourself and of calling one a one and a two, none of this entrepreneurship shit matters. Next slide.
What good is strategy without self-control and self-discipline?
Okay. So now we moved into the strategy space. So after motivation and inspiration, skill is next, right? You got to get good at something. Once you get good at something, maybe it's your craft, maybe it's what you're entrepreneuring, maybe it's your job, but you got to get good at something. Once you get good at that particular craft, now you're ready to generate some revenue because you have a skill. If you're a photographer, you're a great photographer. If you're a solo photographer and you get hired for jobs and you come on and you do photography and you do dope shit, then your skill level is rising. Motivation, inspiration, it's all you need. Grow your skill. When you get to the top of skill, you run out of time. That's what happens every time. You run out of time because you get so good, you get requested. People want to hire you. People want you on jobs with them because your skill level is at its height. Point blank, period. Now you start having another problem. You say, damn, I'm maxed out at what I can make because there's only so much time in the day. Maxed out. So when most people feel like they're maxed out, they'll either stay there forever or they move into the strategy space. As we talked about last week, strategy gives you optionality with intention. So now strategy, you can create options with a specific intention that can get you where you want to be. So maybe the strategy now is to hire another person, partner with another person, outsource some things. There's so many options that you can do with a good strategy. But strategy is useless if you haven't mastered self-control or self-discipline. Here's an example. Have you ever came up with a strategy and said, okay, I'm gonna talk to this person, call them, we're gonna meet, I'm gonna talk to this person, they fucking pissed me off, but we're gonna talk and we're gonna talk it through so that everything is cool. Call that person, and when they speak, their voice fucking irritates you so bad that you're like, motherfucker, I told you, ah! Strategy out the window. The sound of their voice sparked your emotions and fucked up the strategy. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe it never happened to y'all. Because strategy without self-control and discipline is nothing. What good is it? You can be the best strategist in the world, but if you can't get past your own self-control, you look like an idiot, just like the rest of us. They don't even know how intelligent and smart you are because you can't get past your own carnal, basic ass emotions. Entrepreneurship just don't fly. You got to bite your tongue. You got to take them deep breaths. You got to be quiet. You got to pause. You got to hey, let me come back and holler at you a little bit. You got to ignore them texts sometimes and them emails if you hot. Come back and say, hey, let me call you tomorrow. Today was a busy day. All of it. Whatever you got to do. You know, Japanese businessmen, you know what they do? They'll have translators with them to negotiate with Americans, even though they speak excellent English. You know why? It allows them to take a breath, to relax, to listen, to be calm so that they don't say no shit that's out of pocket.
That's fire.
They'll understand everything you're saying. But because it has to go through it gives them time to process it and keep their self-control and discipline strong. Bite your tongue. That emotional shit is whack. It's low level. It's little kid. It's small time. If there is a they out there, that's what they expect us to do. I ain't worried about y'all. Y'all can't even get past your own emotions. Even if somebody do build something, y'all be fighting by tomorrow.
Damn, it's so true. Dang.
Cold game. Cold game. Ain't worried about y'all. Pfft. That's because self-control and discipline is the key. We work so hard on the skill part, getting better, even the strategy part, but we ain't working on ourselves and our own internal disciplines, then it don't matter. What's the did you know?
Did you know 2 years after open heart surgery, 90% of people don't change
What
habits?
the fuck? I'm flabbergasted. meaning they cracked your whole rib cage open, cut through your heart, you was gonna die. You probably, before all that, you prayed to God, Jesus, Mary, everybody, and said, I promise, if this thing comes through, just get me out of this, God. I'm going to be good. And you got out of it. And 2 years later, you back eating double cheeseburgers, extra cheese, fries, milkshake, everything. That is the nature of the 99. It's the nature. It's the nature of the 99. I got questions or silence or something.
Man.
It's a red light, green light.
It's
red light.
I grew up in the information is power era. And I'm not saying that that is not true. I am saying that there's limitations to that. And when I read this, I was thinking, like, yeah, strategy, like I can teach you how to do strategy. People, you learn that. But execution, which is really where your self-control and discipline comes in, is no one wants to talk about that. They could care less about that because they feel like I already know that. But there's no, like, self-control and self-discipline is where execution lives.
Yes.
Right, it's where it lives. And so you could have, like, you could just have done whatever, a whole seminar of the thing, but you don't really know what you've taken in until you go to execute it, because that's where you'll see, not that the information wasn't great, but you'll get to see what the information looks like filtered through you.
Yes.
It's a crazy thing because in here, if you've been a part of Hope for a while, we've read a lot of things. But when you go to implement them, like the simple things of, like, I know something, let me tell you, let me help you sort of workshop a challenge. And if somebody in that room they have values that are different than yours and they frustrate you, it doesn't matter that you knew the thing that actually could have helped. It could have been the exact right solution, but it doesn't get executed in the space well because you haven't learned you haven't built the capacity to have space for ideas that are not like yours. And something like that simple completely compromises what you were able to accomplish in that space. I have been in a space where I don't completely agree with a lot of the values. Not that I think they're wrong, I just think that they have limitations. And there have been times where there are people who really wholeheartedly believe in them. It's really, really, my exercise every single week is to not weaponize what I know. Every single week. There's somebody who is, like, doing the thing, and I'm like, my instinct is to be like, that's stupid. And because I am smart enough, I can use words really well to tell you that's stupid without saying that's stupid. But nobody wins if I'm beating you up with something that's supposed to help you, right? It really is the more important. I'm getting to a place where the self-control and the self-discipline matter more than the strategy. Because with the strategy, I know how to do one thing. With self-control and self-discipline, I can play with that strategy, like it becomes a toy in my hand. And now I can use it in the way that I want. But just having the strategy information alone, which I read a lot, I've used a lot. It's not as useful to me if I don't have the self-control or the self-discipline, because people are not always going to behave like I think they should, like the reality piece. How, like, self-discipline and self-control actually gives me power to be able to deal with people who philosophically, we see the world very differently. And I can still see them and see value in them because I have more self-control and self-discipline than I had last year, 2 years, 3 years for sure. But that self-control, self-discipline piece has been really, really helpful for me in terms of just like being able to be more effective. And so it's like you can throw the ball much further, you can run faster, you can jump higher. Like your own capacity just grows. And there's not a point where I don't have to practice it every day. Like I use it a lot.
Yeah, Here's a deal. Knowledge, exactly, like, great point. Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is not power. It's potential power. So action plus knowledge is what activates it. Knowledge is like pepper that you put when you cook in a pot. It doesn't activate really until it hits that heat. The heat is what turns it on and makes it way more spicier. So a lot of times we weaponize knowledge because it's the lazy way to move. We get the status, immediate status, because we know the thing, but we don't get the full benefits of it. It's like walk into somebody's house and you see a library full of books and you're like, damn, these are all your books? Yep. Did you read all these books? No, it just looks nice in my library. Knowledge is potential power. When you know something, it only activates when you do it because you have to know how to use it. And that's self-control and self-discipline. You got to know how to use it. And that comes with practice. So here's the thing. There are people out there right now that know half of what you know that's performing better than you.
Man.
There are people out there right now that know a quarter of what you know that are performing better than you because of self-control and self-discipline. It's what they're not doing. It's what they're not doing. It's a person that's a quarter of intelligent than you are, but they're not addicted to their iPhones, their Instagram. They ain't addicted to it. So they use that time to maximize all of their output with a quarter of what they know. The truth. They out there right now running around, living their best life. And us accumulating more knowledge is not going to help. It ain't going to help us. I think it was 2 years ago, we did a class about that, where sometimes it's not what you're doing or knowing, it's what you got to stop doing. Mm-hmm. And the ability to say no to yourself is extremely powerful. If I build a business that's crazy, that's excellent, and it generates lots of revenue, makes lots of money. I'm following my dreams of hiring black folks and doing these things for the community, but I can't control myself around women.
Shit.
Then what? I'm about to jeopardize the whole shit. If I can't control myself around women in my office, that self-control piece just damaged it. Got to understand how important this is. And the beauty of self-control and self-discipline is that it's interdependent on everything you do in life. That's one great thing about it. So if you practice self-discipline over here, you'll see results over here, and you'll see results over there. You'll see results back there. You'll see results over here. If you wake up that one morning and go to the gym when you didn't feel like it, that one little step that you did will affect this one report that you don't feel like doing that you got to do. And you just push yourself a little forward because of that gym thing you did 2 weeks ago. That one time that you held your tongue when you had the situation, position, opportunity to say some slick shit, but you didn't, is going to help you save your tongue 4 months from now in a completely different situation. It's interdependent. That's the beauty of it. So working on it over here will not negate it over here. That's what's beautiful about self-control and self-discipline. That's why going to the gym is so good. Because you'll realize that mentally you'll be doing, I just need to do one more rep. I just need to push myself a little harder for this one thing in a business setting. Without this, you ain't got, like, your business is teetering. It's vulnerable. It's on a fault line. Your life is on a fault line. What good is being a billionaire if you got diabetes and gout and all kind of health shit where you ain't gonna be here? You built all this shit up and you ain't got the discipline to eat well enough to focus on your health. This is real objective reality. Well, I know that story is prevalent. A lot of great entrepreneurs died in their 40s and 50s because the stress levels of entrepreneurship was so tough that they had to have a shot at night and smoke a cigarette, cigar, whatever. Entrepreneurship ain't no joke. This is a key component. It's a key component. So, and self-discipline is hard, especially when it comes to your shadows and dark sides. Because I for sure got them. I'm gonna lie. So, we all do. So learning how to manage those and grow and expand and build, that's one of the major challenges. And you can't start this with big things. Okay, tomorrow I'm just gonna throw everything in the garbage and never do it again. That's crazy. I'm just gonna do this one little thing less than I did today. 3% less. 3% less than yesterday. Just slowly. Don't go on no binges. That hardly ever works. And then go back to your motivation and inspiration and say, if I continue this behavior, what's gonna happen to me? If I continue this destructive behavior, if I continue going down this path of lack of self-control, self-discipline, what's gonna happen? And use that to motivate you. It's tools, play. Like, what you say to yourself is important, but you gotta have it. Gotta have it. My first company, we got to 7 digits in our business, but I'm in my late 20s. I started that company in my early 20s to late 20s. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how wild the lack of self-discipline, self-control? It was wild. We pulled guns on each other in the office at one time.
What?
Two employees.
I'm like, just to show it? Because you
No.
show and tell?
No,
Okay.
got into it.
Okay, I was just checking.
Up in.
I never told y'all that story.
No.
Nah, you ain't tell us
That's
this
why we
story.
looking like, what?
It's an episode of Power.
Man, wild. All the shadows, all the dark sides, all just intermingling within the company. Like, it was wild. Trying to build something. Trying to build something. Wow. Fights, all kind of shit. And we still going to the clubs on the weekends, partying, and still managed to build something that was in all the big box stores, Macy's, Sports Marts, Foot Locker, Foot Action, all the big box stores. But at the same time, the crash came because of the lack of self-control and lack of self-discipline. That's why it crashed.
This is why Black brands' space in stores is diminishing, because you can get there, but can you stay?
Can you stay there?
I swear.
Can you stay there? Here's another thing. God. You hit a hype cycle. Whatever you did, took off. Now you're in the millions, almost like overnight. Can you mentally handle that newfound power and that newfound popularity and that newfound celebrity and handle all that money? If you don't have self-control and self-discipline, all that shit's gonna get to your head. And it's the same thing is gonna happen. You're gonna have the same fate. You have to be able to control yourself. Hey, stay focused, stay disciplined, stay humble, stay focused, stay disciplined, stay humble. And create ways to keep you humble and keep, like, you have to play the same game with yourself. Whatever it is, however the game is for you. Whatever you need to do. I have accounts. I have the main account that I look at, and then I move money to another account that I don't look at that much. So when I open it up, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get to work. Because I forgot that I moved it, and we got runway over here. Hey, I need you guys to we got to get these deposits. It's a psychological game I play with myself. I have triggers too, that if I feeling myself too much, I have these quick things that says, remember my first company? I know how to slap myself on the hand. I'll go jump on BART. I'll do something. I'll walk. I'll go to East Oakland and walk. I'll run I'll do something that puts my mentality back into that humble place. Because we all got different makeups. But thing is, some people can you handle success? That answer, can you handle success, is derived from, when you split it apart, is do you have the self-control and self-discipline to maintain your mental and emotional equilibrium when the success comes? If you do not, then the success will crush you. And I've seen it. Next slide. So, go ahead.
Gasoline and water look the same. How accurate is your data?
So, we talk strategy. Strategy gives you optionality. Optionality gives you the freedom to move towards your targets regardless of what the gravity is, regardless of what the walls or the laws are. If you get stuck, that means you need to fall back and strategize. What are my options based on my intentions? And create some. Right? Data is at the peak of the pyramid. Data allows you to accelerate your path into your success by looking at the numbers. But you got to be very, very careful about your data. Because gasoline and water look the same. Gasoline and water looks the same. So you need your other senses. Oh, that ain't water. Even if it has no smell to it. You need your other senses to be able to determine what that liquid is. Because again, going back to the other analogy, if kid 1 comes up and says kid 2 did something, that's data. Now, how do I decipher the data? Were there witnesses? Did anybody see it? So using data can accelerate your growth. It can get you there faster, but you have to know how to decipher through the data. You got to know how to play with it. You got to know where it came from. What's the strength of the data? Who took it? Were they under duress when they took it? That's why a lot of scientific studies can be skewed. A lot of scientific studies can be skewed based on not understanding where the data came from. If you're like, well, people like my stuff, or a whole bunch of people liked it. How many people sell physical products? Does anybody sell physical products? Okay. One person. So if you sell a physical product, and before your physical product goes out into the market, you did sort of a survey to see if people were interested in it. 20 people. And all 20 said they buy it. Put the product out, nobody buys it. What happened? What happened? Like there's so many variables that could happen that could skew that data. That's why understanding the continuity of the data that you're getting would have gave you that right answer. They might say they buy it just because you're handsome or you're beautiful. You got a pretty smile like Kaja. Yeah, I'll buy it. Then 2 weeks later, when you drop it, after all those people said it, nothing happens. There's things you can do to break down your customer to really understand if they're going to buy or not. Data is important, but the type of data that you're getting is more important. Any questions on this before we put this Ascension thing to bed? Is this helpful? Mm-hmm. All right. Next slide. All right. Exercise. We're going to do a little exercise in class and then for those at home. Okay? So I want you to, if you pull out a piece of paper and a pen or use your phones or whatever you need to write something down, your notes, whatever. I'll give you a couple seconds to get ready. All right, you ready? Let's go to the next slide. This is a where are you exercise. So I'm gonna ask you a series of questions. Just write down the answer or the number. So on a scale of 1 to 10, mentally and emotionally, where are you? Where are you? On a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being depressed, considering suicide, and 10 being you're at your 100% best self. You're at your absolute best self mentally. Good? Next question. Physically, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? 1 being horrible, 10 being you feel at your best self, your ideal self, the self you want to be physically.
Mentally and emotionally.
Hey, and just FYI, shit is not an answer.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Third question. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you financially? 1 being you got one of them tents by my office outside, or 10 being where exactly where you want to be financially. This objective. See, here we go. Good question. Objective. Next question. With your relationships, others, friends, significant others, kids as a whole, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? Where are you in your relationships? Solid? So, the next question is, what do you think is your most powerful asset about you? At home, you guys better be doing this. Oh, no, let me rephrase that. At home, can you guys please do this? I know, huh? That's inspiration. I hope you're doing this at home. Everybody good? Next question. What is one quality that you're struggling with? Got 2 more questions. Good? This question. What is, out of all the goals you have, which goal do you have that you want to accomplish 1 year from now?
You said out of all of them, what's the one that we want to accomplish in a year?
1 year from now. Cool. Last question. What do you think is holding you back? I got a question for you. Come here, man. Come here. Come here. Come here. Man. Come here. We gotta have a talk. Come here, blood. What was that dream about? Monsters? Monsters?
Yes.
But you know how tough you are? You could just beat up all those monsters. Right?
I don't know about that one, but
Where you get that haircut from? That haircut clean, boy.
this barber shop named Craig's.
Man, you fly. You fly. Thank you for your answers. Everybody good? Can I would ask anybody to share. If you want to share, you can. But the next question outside of sharing is, what did you learn from that exercise about yourself? Anybody want to share? Jasadi?
I remember we did this. I think we did this activity last year. One thing I noticed from when we did this activity before, my numbers did go up.
Dope.
So, but there's still like room for improvement. But another thing I noticed was that the struggle quality and then the last one that you asked is basically the same. It's like, but me recognizing it, like I know I can immediately identify my struggle quality, but it's also the same thing that's holding me back from that 1 year goal. So
Here's the thing about most of us humans. Most of us know what's holding us back. Most of us know. If we're honest with ourselves, most of us know. The question is, why do we continue to struggle with it? The question is, how long have you struggled with it? Did it just pop up 2 weeks ago? Most of the time, it's been a struggle for a long time. Most of us know. Scott?
So I had a similar circumstances just Saudi. When we did this before, my numbers were way lower, but I think it was also going through everything that I went through just recently with the whole cancer thing. I felt like it was a pivot from being subjective to actually having my objective reality show up for me, because like with the relationships, my numbers actually were way lower. And now after going through everything and seeing all the amazing folks in the community that came out and supported me, I was like, yo, this is way up here. And then the other thing of dealing with all the sickness was realizing that like my mental constitution is the only thing keeping me from where I want to be. Like physically, like I have all the capabilities I need to accomplish what I need. It's just my mental faculties that are keeping me from where I'm at.
That's huge. That's huge. Tanil?
Okay. So you want me just to give you my answers?
Please.
Okay. So mentally, I feel like I'm at an 8 because I've really been intentional with focusing on that area of work for me. Physically, I'm somewhere between a 6 and a 7. Financially, I feel like I'm between a 7 and an 8. Also an area where I'm trying to like be real honest and transparent and build. So that has required a lot more structure and discipline from me. Because I love to shop. I love shoes and fashion and earrings and all the things. And I am a girly girl. And so I've recognized that I need more discipline in that space. Not that I feel like I was overboard, but it's like, Tanil, you don't really need like 60 pairs of sneakers. You're not going to wear those. So, yeah. So I'm working on that. So y'all pray for me. But relationships, I said I was about an 8 because I think I value people. So I feel like I show up, but there is definitely in certain relationships area for improvement. And I will say this. I was having a conversation with a group of women last week, and I gave them an example of people's capacity to show up in a way that we need them to, and being able to accept them. Like, we may need somebody to be a gallon, but they're only a quart. So when we're trying to like make them show up in this big way and they can't, we don't know how to handle that. So I've been really trying to work on that, just loving people for who they are, and in spite of that. Okay. I said my most powerful asset is me as a whole, because I feel like there's not one thing that I could really remove that would make me be me, right? There's not one thing that I would go, oh, damn, this is the dopest thing about me. I feel like there's a lot of things about me that I just accept and I love. And that's not being like ego or prideful or anything. I just feel like you're fearfully and wonderfully made. So all of you, and I'm not going to take one thing from that. So I would just say I am overall my most powerful asset. And then for me, I struggle with old mindsets. I really do, because I think about like Shabisha's my best friend. This is my baby sister. And little things will come up where my sister will be like, girl, if you don't put that back, you wearing fat girl clothes. Like, you ain't that big no more, like whatever it is. But my mind is still there, right? So struggling with that. We've had a million conversations with her, be like, girl, she'll check me in a second. Don't talk about my friend like that, because I'll find an old picture of myself and be like, girl, look how much weight I lost. And this is that. She'll be like, girl, do you want to get hit? Like, don't talk about my friend. And it's me. So mindset, right?
Right.
And then my goal to accomplish a year from now is really just to prioritize and protect my me time. Because as a mom, and in the role that I have at 5'10", and all the other things I do, and the way that I desire to show up for people, I realize that I will intrude on that time. So I may say, oh, I'm going to the gym today, but the kids need A, B, and C. And I'll be like, damn, tomorrow, 6 a.m. Well, something else comes up, right? So that. And last but not least, what I feel is holding me back is me. Because I've already seen where if I shift, if I put in the work, if I'm intentional, I can move things, I can change things, I can transform, I can evolve. So really, there's nobody that's keeping me from any of that. So it's really it's just me.
That's interesting. You know what's interesting about that? Thank you for sharing that. That was dope. Here's the interesting thing about it, is that her best asset was her, but the thing holding her back was her. That's crazy. So, so sometimes it's getting out of your way, allowing yourself to get out of your way, but that comes with the nuances of dissecting. What is it? Like, what is it about me that I love, and what is it about me? What is it about me that gets in my way? What are the details about me what are the things? Because once you crack the eggs on the ground, now you get to see all the little parts. And what are the what parts are the ones that are in my way? Because it's not all the beautiful parts about you is not what's in your way. It's some minute things. It's some fears. It's some mental fears or pain that's stepping in there and is finding it. I was fired. You got the mic.
You see that?
Go
Look who got
ahead.
the mic. I asked for it.
I like that.
But I will say, I was sitting here lecturing myself because I looked at my answers to the first scaled questions, and the first 3 were 5 and below. And then
the relationship piece was an 8. And what I've been struggling with the whole class is this idea of motivation, inspiration versus the self-discipline to carry out the strategy, because I don't always feel like I have motivation and inspiration, and I sometimes feel like I just don't fear death. So whatever, I'll eat the burgers. So I'm going back and forth with that, and then I realized, well, my 8 is because last year I told myself to invest in the people that I love. And that I hadn't been spending a lot of time with my family and friends. I'm either at work or I'm cooped up in my room. And so what I realized was, even on my days off, when I was tired, when I don't feel like it, if I said yes, I'm coming. And so then I said to myself, yes, well, clearly you have motivation and inspiration to do something. And so why are these other numbers so low? And so that's where I have to stop and question myself and get out of my subjective reality, which is how I answered these questions, and be honest, and get into more objective reality of, okay, Chamara, let's be honest. Like, really honest. And I feel like I'm an honest person with myself, but I struggle with sometimes the perception of what I think I'm putting out versus what other people tell me I'm putting out. And so then I'm like questioning me. Like, is this really real? Because it's not being seen that way by others, but I feel it is. So I'm maneuvering in those spaces of uncertainty sometimes, of really understanding what is real. And so I'm going to get back into some questioning, because these numbers are too wide. But I realize I do have what I felt like I didn't have. Clearly it's there here in this area. Why isn't it over here?
Fire. Fire. Absolutely. That's what getting honest with yourself does, objectively. Then you start to really dig in and ask those questions. The questions will lead you to the answers that you need to uncover to get through. There's a discrepancy here. Why am I showing up here but not there? What can I do to move my motivation from here to there? What skill am I lacking that doesn't translate to this side of my life? Like, black women are some of the most incredible human beings on the planet. Y'all show up and show out for the people you love. Straight up. Most of us wouldn't be half as who we are without support and love of black women. Who was it? Tennille and Stephanie was trying to connect me with a deal, and they were converging behind the scenes to make sure I got it. Oh no, we gonna make, you gotta get, like, I got to feel the power of that. That was beautiful, like, that's dope. But you know what the issue is? A lot of times you don't do that to yourself. You don't turn that in. And we'll get so used to it, that feeling, that we'll just keep, oh yeah, give me some more, oh yeah, thank you. And not check in and be like, hey, are you good? Did you go to the gym today? Did you take a break today? What you eat today? You eat that bullshit today? No. Because we forget that y'all not superhuman sometimes. But y'all got to prioritize and create those boundaries for yourself. Even if it's 15, 20, 30 minutes. Create strategy for your day. This is what I'm going to do. And some shit may happen to throw me off, but I'm going to be prepared, because I'm going to have some stuff in my bag, in my car, that I could do a quick little X, Y, and Z, and I'm not going to get taken off. But you got to be detectives. You have to be all up in your business. You got to be nosy about you. Why? What is it? And don't take no for an answer. You got to find out, because your life depends on it. Your life depends on it. And not even a death thing, meaning the next 30, 40 years depends on it. The next 40, 50 years depends on how you move.
There's a question online. Is it realistic to want and have alignment with questions 1 through 3? Can the alignment of those impact the numbers in other areas?
Can you define alignment for me? What do you mean by alignment? Can they, because I want to make sure I got the context right when the term alignment. So as soon as they answer, I can take a stab at it.
Okay.
Go ahead, grab the mic.
In looking at the list, there's some things where the number is trending more toward good, but I'm associating that with things that are not good. And then there are areas where the number is trending towards not good, but I'm associating it with things that are going well. So it seems like some of these numbers have duality. So for example, the first one, mental and emotional, I said it was like a 7 or an 8. But I know that that's because I'm real good at detaching from a lot of stuff, so I'm not having a bunch of sweeping reactions. So I'm feeling pretty good because I'm like, okay, we're going to keep that moving. We're not doing this. We're going over here. So the number is good, and I feel pretty good, but that's probably because I've dismissed a bunch of things. For the sake of, we need to keep this moving. Or the second one for physical health, I think with what I'm doing right now for the business I'm trying to grow, I'm having the most fun I've had in a long time. I'm doing stuff that I'm passionate about. I'm meeting people who I've been a fan of their work forever. I'm traveling, and I'm eating and drinking and eating and drinking and eating and drinking, and it's showing. So my number was not good, but I'm having so much fun.
In which category again?
In the physical health.
Physical.
Physical health. If I got down to the most powerful asset, I would have to say my ability to be strategic, but a lot of times that gets misread like calculating or disingenuous. It's like, no, it's not disingenuous. Like if we say we want to do X, I could plot out, this is what we need to do. We need to be here. We need to call this person. We need this person in a relationship. We need to do this, this, this in order to get an outcome. So it feels like it's something that maybe is not that great, but I see good in it.
Beautiful answer. Check this out. Beautiful answer, Kaja. And I know you well enough from this class to know the particular nuances of your personality. But this really magnifies it, is that you have a blended relationship between objective reality, subjective reality. It's blended. It's not hard lines. So objective reality is what you can measure. What you can measure. So you have a particular target. What can you measure? The question was physical, right? Let me back up a little bit. There's different experiences in life, right? There's class 1 to class 4 experiences, right? Class 1 experience in life is if something feels good and it's good for you. That's class 1. That's what we all like. Class 1 experience. I love class 1 experiences. Watermelon is my class 1 experience. I eat watermelon every fucking day. It tastes good and it's good for me. You know what I'm saying? A class 2 experience is that it doesn't feel good, but it's good for you. Let me back up. Class 1 is it feels good, it's good for you, and it serves the greater good. All three. Class 2 is it doesn't feel good, but it's good for you, and it serves the greater good. Right? Class 3 experience is that it feels good, but it's not good for you, and it doesn't serve the greater good. And a class 4 experience is it doesn't feel good, it's not good for you, and it doesn't serve the greater good, which rarely, people don't happen. Most of the times we toggle between 3 and 1, and we stay away from 2. I'll take this vitamin C if it's chewable, and it got hella sugar on it. Right? So you have to decipher in your objective reality and subjective which class that experience is in. So we can do a lot of things that feel good right now but they ain't good for us. I could smoke crack right now and it feels euphoric. And if I feel like I'm in the best feeling place in my life, but it has repercussions and it ain't good for me. And it definitely don't serve the greater good. So so you have to be able to decipher to say, nope, that score is low. It may feel good, but so does crack.
Does it?
So do crack. So do crack. You know what I'm saying? Like, so do all kind of stuff. So do hella hamburgers. They taste good, hella good. For me, so do corner store candy. I'm a corner store candy crackhead. Give me some lemon heads and grape now laters, but it was not good for me. So it's bad. It's bad. So temporary pleasure is way different than whether or not it's good for me. Does that help? And I think the practice is objective reality. In objective reality, the word "but" doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? The word "but" doesn't exist. In subjective reality, it does exist. I can say, yeah, but that's true, but if you have a particular target of where you want to be, say financially, I want to make X amount, and I'm on the one side of that, that's just what it is. And here's why it's so important. This is why it's so important. This is why you got to follow me. This is why it's so important. The way our brain works, your subconscious mind, it needs the truth. It can't function without the truth. It's things going on in your body right now from an objective reality perspective that you don't even know. You better thank God that right now you don't got to say heartbeat, 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 and keep up with that, because y'all all be dead. You don't have to say, wake up and be like, okay, white blood cells, I need you to do your thing. Start fighting. You don't have to do that. Your body's rhythm and patterns is already assigned in the intelligence to do work for you. And it can't be in subjective reality. It has to know that I need to kill this blood cell that's damaging, or we all die. It has to be. So same with everything else in life. For it to your brain to work for you subconsciously in the background for you, it has to know truth. You have to feel that it's not good enough right now. The power that your brain activates when you say, damn, It's not good enough right now. The stuff that happens in the background, it starts working for you to make it better. It's the same way that if you said, I see a lion, your body starts changing and does what it needs to protect yourself against the lion. So if you lying to yourself, check out lion.
Yeah.
I'm raw without trying. And that rhyme. Huh?
Bars.
You dig? No, I sound like Nana now.
I don't know.
If you lying to yourself, your brain will switch itself off because you don't need it. So if you say, no, I'm actually doing fine. I'm enjoying this. This is great. No, we're fine. Your brain says, oh, it is? Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to go over here and focus on some other stuff then. And you won't have the resources you need to actually attack it. If you're like, in my mind, my bank account says $100,000 right now, in my mind. So your brain says, okay, well then we don't got to worry about the financial part. I'm going to go over here and deal with the other stuff that you need help with. You just fucked yourself over. You got to be honest with yourself. Right now, I'm a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10. Your everything in you says word. Oh, well then we need to bring some resources towards this area so we can fix that. I need to give you some good ideas, some business ideas, some things you need to do, switch up, discipline, all that. That's why you gotta be honest. The people who who are bullshitters and liars, they the brokest motherfuckers you know. And they still broke. And they've been that way since you knew them in high school. Because they never got to activate their full selves into what they wanted, where they wanted to go, because they kept lying to themselves. Are we good? In my mind, we good. That's why this shit is so critical for you. This is a key component, a major key. Without it, the rest don't work. Keeping it real with yourself. Keeping it real with yourself is everything. I'm not where I want to be right now. I'm depressed right now. I'm broke right now. I'm not happy right now. Just right now. I'm lost right now. I'm hurting right now. I'm embarrassed right now. I feel rejection right now. Everything. True honesty is true growth, because that becomes your gravity. True honesty. Right now. That's the beauty of the word. Right now. I feel lost right now. Silence. I ain't got it right now.
I think that's dope. I think one of the things that happens for me is when I got almost a knee-jerk reaction to trying to fix it or the next step, right? So I'll be like, my emotional side, I'm going through like a personal storm, but I would say it'll be like, okay, I'm like a 4 right now. But and it's like a knee-jerk reaction to be like, oh, but that's not, how can I fix it? How can I, what's the next step I can do to do this? Without really sitting in it long enough to like soak it, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the things that happens for me. And if you have any advice for that.
Absolutely. That's a dope question. Sometimes when you can keep it real with yourself where you are right now, be there. That's it. There's certain times where in life, I hit depressions. I used to try to fight myself out of depression and get back to an 8 from depression. Body don't work like that. best way to do it is to sit there. Hey, today, I'm a 3 right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm canceling my meetings, and I'm gonna lay in bed, and I'm gonna sit in bed, and I'm gonna swim in all of this. That's it. And then when I'm ready, I'm gonna get up, and we're gonna get it cracking. Now, why? Why did I do that? Because your body needs what it needs, and now you're in a communication with your body and your mind and your spirit. So next time that depression happens, the whole goal is not to not stay in bed, is can I stay in bed a little bit shorter than I did the last time? I stayed in bed till 4:00 p.m. Can I get up at 12? Or I stayed in bed till 4, I didn't fucking take a shower at all because I was just sloppy, depressed, and tired. Today, I'm gonna get in that shower, and I'm gonna get clean, and I'm gonna put a clean outfit on and get there a little earlier. The goal is not, see, most people preach that transformation shit. That's not growth, bro. It don't work. Your brain needs, everything needs increments, because everything in life was made in increments. How you get muscles is in increments. How you learn is ABCs. Then you stack, you compound on top of all your knowledge. So same thing with emotions. It's a compounding effect. So you got to compound down and compound up. So what I say is, you never fight it. You sit in there and you work with yourself. And the whole goal is just play the game with yourself. Can I beat what I did last time, even by a little bit? Just by a little bit. And it's self-acceptance. That's the key that you need too. It's, my score is my score. It is what it is. Think about how you felt when that was said. Once you say, my score is my score, you kind of relax almost, right? You just kind of go, cool. Shit, my shit is a 4 today. It is what it is.
I got one more thing. The last thing I'll say is I was feeling good. I've been in the rhythm and working out. I've been in the gym, and I felt good until yesterday we hit a milestone where my oldest son, my 14-year-old that's behind me, beat me in a foot race.
Hey, good job, son.
So I would like to say this is a milestone. I was feeling good about myself, that I could beat my kids at anything, and this African-American handed me my ass. So.
Tell Pops that he's in subjective reality. That's dope.
African American.
That's dope, man. I love it. And it's gonna happen one day, you know.
Am I on?
Yeah.
You
Right,
on.
cool. Do you think that lying to yourself also can be a Jedi mind trick? Because I've been doing this thing called See a Therapist. So I've been learning that
Good job, Josh.
I've been learning that, like, I've been adding so many, like, healthy obstacles to my life to be able to overcome that I'm now starting to get anxiety because of some of the complications that have happened with failures. And when I'm directing a big set and there's something to panic about, isn't it kind of beneficial to also, instead of panic in front of your employees or the people you're hiring, to figure out ways to tell yourself that things are all right even when they're not, so you can solve the problem?
Great question. Here's my take on it is, that particular answer I don't think is a lie, because it's subjective and relative to where you are, right? So if I'm on a set, the way if you're on a set, it's stressful, right? But money's on the line. It's fake stress. It's money. If all this shit falls apart, what happens? The money fell apart. Nobody died. Nobody crashed, nobody burned, no physical pain happened to anybody. It just some money was lost, right? So saying all is okay from a subjective perspective, depending on the lens in which you look at it, is true. Your health is still there. It's alive. So you can say that to yourself all day, that particular question. But I get where you're going. Lying to yourself. Is it good to lie to yourself? If you know you're lying to yourself, it defeats the perfect purpose. If you believe the lie, it's different. If you believe the lie, it's different, because now you're in objective reality. Because the question then becomes, what's the definition of a lie? So we learn this plenty of times in Hope, that if you believe something, it doesn't necessarily have to be true. You just have to believe it. So if I believe that Jesus is coming back in a particular time, and he's going to destroy the wicked and keep the righteous, that's subjective, right? But if I believe it and it keeps me being good while I'm alive, so what?
So
Know
what you're
I'm
saying is, like, as long as it's not necessarily believing something you know isn't true, but believing you can do it is sort of the way you kind of trick yourself, if that's the case, into believing is that despite the obstacle that's in front of me, I will persevere and win.
True, but here's the thing. Here's a trick about reality that you guys learn. That reality, most of the time, is way, 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 way better than the delusional thinking that you guys have. It's way easier on you. Mm-hmm. We're afraid a lot of times of reality, but in reality, when you think in reality, it's way softer than the fear mongering you create in your head. If you, because the anxiety that happens right in the moment, the panic that happens in the moment, when you lie to yourself, then what happens? You calm down, right? And then you continue on and you finish it. You complete it, correct? And everything happened okay. Is that true or false?
You asking me?
Yeah.
I don't know if I think you need the
in the past. So like if you calmed yourself down by lying to yourself in the past, did that calm you down enough to finish the job?
I wasn't lying. I think I'd phrased it wrong. I was just finding something better to believe in, because I agree with you. I can't lie to myself.
Yeah.
It's not like a strip club. I know all those people are lying to me. I'm just joking with you, but no.
They tell you they love you. You believe it.
No. Like an example of what I'm talking about is I put between $18,000 and $20,000 on the line for a short film of mine, and through emails I had told the lead actor on March 28th at 1 p.m. you'll be on set. So when March 28th and 1 p.m. rolls by, he's not on set, and I call him, and he's like, "What do you mean we shooting today?" And so I had to basically be like, "Well, what are my options right now if he can't show up to this film we're doing?" And I figured out a way to get him there, but like what I was trying to figure out how to do was, even though in my head I'm like, okay, he says he can make it here at this time of day, and you have these options, like that's all fine in there, but physically, like my heart is like pounding. I feel like my blood is like it's going to stop circulation, and then like I feel these pressure points happening in my body, and despite like my brain being rational, like he can't get here any faster, this is what you have to do, shoot this now and then push this back and move this there. But like physically, I don't know what to tell my body to calm it down, because I have to walk into this room and 33 people have to trust me and believe I got my shit together.
Right. And if you're in control, you have to have your shit together. So everyone's makeup is different, right? So Josh's programming, you have to find the right program to get you to go in a corner, disappear, take that deep breath, panic, punch something, swing at the air, I don't care. Then take a deep breath, calm down, to get you to a space to where now you can come up with rational decisions, which includes your self-talk. So, okay, time out. At the end of the day, I'm breathing up and down and like it's a fucking lion chasing me. I'm making a movie. Relax. Now, And the only way I can come up with a good solution is if I relax. So let's take some deep breaths and let's calm down. Do what you, and finding the formula over time to come out and perform like that. And it ain't always gonna be sweet. You're gonna fuck up sometimes. So what? So what? The goal is to fuck up less. Every time you get better and better. I still, in staff meetings, when people say some stupid shit, I wanna, but I take a deep breath. I'm cool. I try to be calm. I try to follow my system. Self-control and self-discipline. Do it always work? No. I lash out. Or I'll come up with the answers. Then I'm like, all right, today I scored a 4. Tomorrow we're going to get better. That's what the game's about. But you got to find your nuance, find your details. And it could be different for you. Look, some of our best performers got different rituals. Some of our best performers, before they get on stage, they go in the bathroom and throw up. Period. You never know. And they just got to get it out because that's their ritual. That's their body going into anxiety, panicking. And once they're done throwing up, it lets them know that we're ready to rock. And you never know because that's their ritual. Some people need music to get them hype. Some people watch comedy to laugh and get in jovial moods. Some people meditate. People do different things, but you got to get in that space. So sometimes I go in my office, close the door, and I burn my sage. Give a fuck that my office smell like sage when people walk by. I'm a better person in 5 minutes. I'm a better person. Now I come out, let's talk about it. And they be like, that's a creepy ass smile. I'm like, so what?
Good one, Josh. Yes, you did good on that.
That was a good one.
That was great.
That was a good one. That was a good one. I like that. I like that one. So, but where I was going to when we were talking is a lot of times reality is better than with the shit going on in your head. Because if you get rejected or you fail or you lose money or something, the first place your brain goes is to the extreme, right? I failed. It's over. I'm a failure. Shit is blowing up. Everything is all bad. Reality says, wait, time out. So you're just a complete failure after that one mistake? You just fucked up once. So you're a failure, which means everything before that was a failure too? No, not everything. Okay, so just this one thing. Yeah, that's real objective reality. Oh, well then it's not so bad. It's just, yeah, chill. It's just one, you just messed up one time. Not forever. So reality can sometimes feel, once you lock into reality, it will feel better than the bullshit extremist things that goes in our head that create anxiety. The only reason why we create anxiety because your mind goes to the extreme. It says, I'm about to die. Anxiety says, I'm about to die, and your freeze response kicks in. I'm about to die, and it kicks out all these hormones that basically is like, I hope I taste nasty to this animal. Mm-hmm. That's what you're kicking out. So I hope this feeling, that's your last defense against the animal that's eating you, is that anxiety, because it pushes out all these nasty hormones out so that hopefully that animal crunches down. It's like, this shit is disgusting. Because that's what freeze response does. But reality is like, I just fucked up. I just lost $1,000, or I just this, or I just that, or just one thing. And my track record is decent. Good question, though, Josh. And a better joke. That was good. Mm-hmm. Next slide.
We got a response. You want to save it?
Sure.
Okay. So the question was around the alignment of the first three and how that could affect the other numbers.
Oh, cool.
So the context is the first three were at a 1, but the other numbers are higher. Mm-hmm. And so is it possible that because the first three were at a 1, that it elevated the numbers in other areas, which, and they're contemplating, did being at a 1 in those areas, did it take getting at a 1 here for me to get higher in those other areas?
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And thank you for being honest enough with yourself to put 1. Man, I know what them 1s feel like. I've been in them 1s. Them 1s suck. So, but it takes keeping it real with yourself to get out. Because now your body, your brain, your mind now is clear what the score is. And you're progressive down there. Deep down, you're progressive. And you have competitive nature deep down because you want to survive. So when you say I'm a 1, oh man, that's when it starts. It can start for you. There's a thing called harmonic wealth, right? Harmonic wealth means I have to work on keeping my scores high in those areas. And not always going to be perfect and not always going to be 10s, but you got to be working on all of those pieces. Now, they're not all going to be perfectly matched, and some are going to be lower than others because of where you are in life. But the goal is to not compete against anyone else's numbers but yourself. So, in all of those pillars, what can I do to get to a 2 in this one? What can I do to get to a 2 in this one? What can I do to get to a 2 here? What things can I put in place to get to a 2 there? What can I do to improve the scores that are high? What can I do to improve them? You're asking yourself questions every single day. This is your job. This is your homework. Every single day, I'm pointing here, every single day is critical for you to ask yourself the question. As soon as your eyes open in that morning, the question you ask, the first thing you ask yourself when you wake up is, what can I do today to improve my scores? What can I do today? What was the first 3 again? It was
Emotional,
mental,
physical. Yeah.
okay, mental, emotional, physical, and financial. So the first 3 is mentally. What can I do today? Maybe it's just sit 5 minutes by myself mentally. What book can I read? Let me just spend. There are times where shit in life is so fucked up, especially when you're in the 1s. Life is coming at you hard. You got to find the moments, even if it's 5 minutes. Some people can read a chapter of a book a day, right? Maybe at the beginning for you, you can just read a page. But read a page. Read a page. Maybe in the physical, if you're not doing anything, maybe you go in your room and you do 3 sets of 20 jumping jacks. That's it. You can't be a 1 no more after that. You did something. You did something. Same with financial. Whatever you're doing to generate revenue, what can I do to make more money today? What can I do to up my score? Can I ask for more overtime? Can I work an extra 2 hours? Can I flip something? Like, that is your mission, because you are in survival mode right now. It's survival mode, but you are in this family. You in this family. So it's baby steps. Radical responsibility, take baby steps. You can't jump off the porch and compound off that one thing. And from the jumping jacks to a 10-minute walk, to a brisk walk, to a fast walk, to just what can I do today to improve my score, to get to a 2? You get to a 2. What can I do today to get to a 3? That is your mission. You could do it. You can fucking do it. We all can. We absolutely all can. It just takes some motivation and inspiration. It takes some skill, and it takes self-discipline and self-control. Because if you continue on in that path of 1s 5 years from now, where are you going to be? Are you going to be here? Are you going to be in the same place? What's your life going to look like? You got to get that shit. You got to get up. Who's relying on you? Who loves you? Who loves you? Who wants to see you win around you? Use them as motivation, but you got to do it. I'm going to follow. I'm going to find you. I'm going to follow up on you. We going to make this shit happen. I'm dead serious. All right, I got it. Come on, let's go next slide.
Your ability to process emotion is what constitutes the foundation for true progressiveness.
Yes. How we process emotion, how you process the emotions. So we can never not feel the feelings. Sorry. You can never not feel the feelings. The feelings are going to flow through you, whatever that feeling is. Anger, frustration, rage, depression, happiness, horniness, all of it. You're going to feel the feelings. The question is, do we have the tools and the ability to process it so that we can still progress? That is the thing. So you can never turn your emotions off. You can't. To get to a successful place. Well, I just won't be emotional. Not true. You're going to feel it. The goal is, do you have the self-control and the self-discipline to bite that tongue, to hold back, to stop, to resist, to hold on, take a break. Let me take a breather. Let me process this. Because emotion is a feeling, it's a wave, and it will pass. But you gotta chill. You gotta let it pass. You're not gonna not feel the feeling. For me, I wear my emotions right here. So that's tough for my employee. Like if I'm not happy with you, it's hard for me not to show it. So I gotta disappear. Hi, okay, yeah, all right, I'll talk to you in a minute. So I know I can't be in a person's presence because they'll feel it. So you have to be able to process the emotions to get to a space where you back and you can communicate the most effective that you can be. Next slide.
You cannot skip steps. You may not be good enough yet, and it's okay.
Objective reality says, I may not be good enough in this moment. And that's all right. The word yet is what's there. That's the hope. That's faith. That's progressiveness. I may not be good enough. You know what I wanted to be when I grew up? A rapper. I didn't have no college education, no skills. I was ESL. I didn't have nothing. So my goal in life was to be a rapper. My classes was ESL. I was in the slow people class. It is English as a second language. We was in the same classroom like 4 periods in a row. Like we stayed there. You damn near had to hold hands to go to the next classroom. So I wanted to be a rapper. Guess what? I wasn't good enough. To some degree, somehow, some way, or I would be one. Wasn't good enough. And that's okay. Most people can't admit that shit. A lot of people can't admit that the reason why they're not where they want to be is because they ain't good enough yet. When you say, I got to get better, that allows your brain to create the capacity for you to grow, period. If you say, I'm there and everybody hating, your brain does no work. You give no job for your brain, your higher self, your subconscious, superconscious, the system 1 or system 2 to do anything because you got it. Have you know people who are so cocky and so arrogant that you think that they got it all. And if you got to know them, they fucking struggling and one step from being homeless, but their whole vibe and personality is like they know everything. And you get behind their curtain and they're like, I'm broke, I'm about to lose everything. Bruh, your vibe is like the way you talk to people, how you move and everything is like you don't need nothing. That's why they don't ever get no help. So if you move like that to other people and yourself, that's why you in that situation. So as a business person, you got to know that if it don't convert to money, the kind of money that you need and want or on the path to get, you got to get better. And that's okay. It has to be okay for you to admit that shit, I'm C minus. I'm a D plus. I'm a F. That's partly why I love growing up being in the slow class, in the dumb people's group, because the expectations for me was so low and everybody already thought I was dumb. So I ain't got to try to prove nothing. I'm in that fucking, I'm not even in the main school. I'm in the, what do you call them things?
Portables.
Portables. My classroom's in the so it's clear. I can't sneak up. So I'm an at-risk kid. They expect me to be bad. I showed up because how they wanted me to, how they expected of me. I showed up that way. It was a symbiotic relationship. So being in last and I don't give a fuck, because I know when I set my mind on something, we gonna get down. So you have to be comfortable looking stupid if you want to create something. You got to be comfortable because you're going to look stupid. You're going to look disheveled. You're going to look not put together and perfect. You're going to look all that. But you got to first admit it. Where am I? This is the standard. This is the gold standard of where I want to be. And where am I? Whew. I'm a C minus compared to that. I'm a D plus compared to that. Good. What's the question? Does anybody know? What's the question that you ask? Not what am I learning? We just talked about it with the ones and 111s. What can I do to increase my score?
Oh.
What can I do? I'm a F plus. What can I do to get to a D minus? Just this week or just this month. Who can I learn from? Who can I study from? Who can I study from? You got to be thirsty for this shit. I want to get up. Who can I grow from? Who can I sit next to? Not who I like. Oh, I ain't vibing with him. I don't give a fuck if you're not vibing with him. Do they got knowledge to give you? Sit through it. Sit through it. Because that's the next level for you. Sit through it. I don't like learning from white men. Man, do they got knowledge for you? Sit through it. They wear beanies and hats, T-shirts. Do they got game for you? Sit through it. Learn from it. What can I do to increase my score? There's some people that you can get game from right now that you don't like. But they winning. Come on, blood. Mm-hmm. Come on, blood. Like that, you got to be okay with not being good enough in the moment. Guess what? If your self-value is low and your self-love is low and your motivation is low and your inspiration is low, if you tell yourself you're not good enough, it could crush you. It's the truth. There are times when this game I'm playing, and I don't even realize it, I don't realize that my self-value has dropped points because I've been getting beat up, and my self-love has dropped points and it's getting beat up, and my motivation is low, and my inspiration is low. There are times where I play, because I'm always here. And there are times when I say it, and I go, what? And I'm like, oh, that's not the problem. I got to go build myself back up. I got to go build myself back up. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Because I got to be able to do this. Next slide.
Know your value. Knowing your value is more important than knowing your worth. Worth can have zero value.
Somebody fight me on it. Kaja, you'll swing on me in a minute. You're in the front row.
I think this is interesting because I always understood it as worth drives value. What your worth drives the value. If I have a Picasso, so it has a certain amount of worth, then I can create the pricing, which is the value. So is that not the right order?
Jordan?
When I came across this quote last time, from my understanding, is worth is relative depending on where it resides.
Mm-hmm. Here, check this out. Let's go back to that same example last year. If you're dying of thirst, literally, and I hand you a Picasso painting, and I got a $1 bottle of water, which one has more value? That good old $1 water. That's why that you know your worth. Bullshit. Know your value. Know your value. Worth can change. Y'all just seen what NFTs and Bitcoin and all that stuff, like that can change in a heartbeat. This is worth, the question you have to ask is to who? Because at the end of the day, there's gonna be a value associated with that worth. And if they're willing to pay it, now it has value. But it doesn't have value until you have somebody willing to exchange value for money. You got to know your value. You got to know, what's my value? What's my value in a marketplace? The reason why a lot of people run from value is because it requires objective reality. It requires reality. If I put my t-shirt out into the market and it does not sell, it has zero value. You take it out to a homeless person and give it to a homeless person, and they be like, what the fuck is this? Who designed this bullshit? You got to be honest. What's my value to my marketplace? What's my value to my marketplace? What's my value to my relationships? What's my value? So that score, that 1 to 10, you just expressed your value. Now, how you really align the value is you give it to the people in the relation that you're in relationship with and have them score you. So if you're a 7, all right, Tanil's daughter, what's your mom? Tanil's husband, what's your mom? What's your wife? Tanil's son, what's your mom? Now you know true value. What's your goal? Is your goal $500,000 this year to make? Is it 100,000? What is it? What's your number? How much did you make? If you made 40,000 or 30,000, your number's a 3 if you wanted 100. That's your number. That's your value. It is what it is. Stoicism. Right?
Can you speak on the idea of people believing that they deserve something in correlation to this right here? If there is any correlation to that?
Well, some people speak of I deserve this based on their perceived value in the market, right? So deserve, instead of demonizing the word deserve, which I may have done in the past, if I tell you, Tanil, hey, I'm gonna cook 3 meals for you, and then you cook 3 meals for me this week, and I cook the 3 meals, and you don't cook the 3 for me, I deserve them 3 meals, right? Because we agreed on an exchanging value. We agreed on it. But if I say, I want you to cook for me all year and I don't do shit for you just because I'm me, I deserve it. That's another group who believes in that type of deserving. I'm alive, motherfucker, so I'm alive. I want it all and I deserve it all because I'm me. And I don't want to exchange any value. I just want to be me and get it all. The delusion in the subjective reality that is, the world don't need you like that. You have to put your stake in the game and show your value. You have to put your stake in the game. I'm here to provide value, to make this world a better place, even if it's just a little bit. I'm here to give value to this world and show my value. So my input comes from my output. My input comes from my output. Like that there's one side that creates entitlement, and then there's one side that's exchange of value. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? Like there's certain things when it comes to the theys that I think we got as a people fucked up a little bit, that's slowing us down. So, they got to do better. Reparations, like it's all these things that we sometimes as black folks will sit back and wait because we think we owed something. Really, in reality, nobody owes you shit. My mom could have did better. I'm holding my mom accountable because she wasn't the best mom. What? My dad didn't give me all the stuff that all my friends had. Or I had a rough childhood and I'm punishing my mom for it. For real? What you think you owed? What you want? How much? You want to go what you want? Once we get to the space and the place where people, especially our parents, they gave us life. They created a human, you. Enough to the point to where you still have all your limbs, your arms, legs, everything. You're walking, you have health, a particular level of health in you. Come on, cuz. What else do they owe you? Everything in this game, you got to go get. And your belief system, the God, the universe, all those things is going to reciprocate what you put out. but you got to go get it. Where do you end and God begins? Does anybody know the formula? Where do you end and God begins when it comes to getting what you want? Does anybody know the magic formula? I sure don't. So I know we got a mission. We got a job to do while we're here. And if you don't know the formula, you gotta add value to this game like there ain't no God. And you pray like all there is a God, because you don't know the formula. But we ain't really owed nothing.
I'm laughing because I had posted earlier today something in the Facebook group with regard to this, because in the last class when Nana and I were talking about DEI efforts in workplaces, and I told him that was essentially the work I did, and feeling like a lot of times that work represents things that are owed to people. And then I had 2 weeks, because we were off in between, so I had 2 weeks to really think about that in regard to the work I do, but just in general. And it's not really an owing, right? But do you agree that it is a fair redistribution sometimes of things that have just historically been not equitable? So you don't owe it, you don't owe me, but we know that this is not at scale. Let's just neutralize it.
Thank you for the question. For an entrepreneur, no. For a civilian, sure. Which, to me, that's troublesome, right? It gets destructive. It leads to destructive things like entitlement, expectation, and continuous feeding off of an entity, which at any moment they can pull that plug on you. Like DEI folks are getting fired left and right now. So do you want to be reliant on a system that gets created based on fairness and equity? If you're a wolf, nah, this feels weird, sticky to me. It feels like a collar. Get me out of there. But if you're not an entrepreneur and you're an employee and with employee mindset, then maybe you understand that that's a wave that you ride till it's over and find another way, because fairness is so subjective, so objective, so subjective. What could be fair today gets stripped tomorrow. And now you're vulnerable and out of a job based on fairness. Whose fairness? You can't rely so for entrepreneurship, run from that. Run from it. Don't build no businesses based on it. Don't start anything based on it. You build based on what value can I add to this marketplace in exchange with reality, and grow and improve my product so I can generate revenue from it. And every day I wake up, I'm gonna try to improve. I'm gonna improve in that area. If you're not a wolf and you like, then that could be some solution for some people. I don't fuck with it. Hell, I would never recommend it, because using the word fairness will get you fucked up. Because the minute somebody decides to shift fairness, then you're out of a job. You're out. So when I was in the working world, I said, where can I provide the most value to where I'm indispensable? I don't give a fuck what happens with the economy. They can't fire me, because it's positioning. So anything around fairness gives you the weakest positioning possible from a strategy perspective. When we're talking strategy and data, you're in the weakest position when what you do revolves around the word fairness. Sure.
So not necessarily in the sense, I hear what you're saying in the employer sense, right? Because that's a house with fixed walls. But from the entrepreneur sense, I can't remember the name of the foundation. Shabisha, you probably know. The one that's going through the litigation right now because they don't want them to be able to give money to businesses based on race and ethnicity. The female founders.
I can
I
see
can't
her
remember the
face,
name
but
of
I
it.
can't call her name. I
Right.
see it.
So this is a grant that I think was earmarked to go to Black women founders, and they have it tied up in litigation saying we shouldn't be able to direct this money to people just based on race, gender, and ethnicity. So these are entrepreneurs, right? So if we look at that from a historical paradigm of what's happened in this country, yeah, there's some equalization to be done, which means you need to give me that money. I'm not saying owed, but if we're going to neutralize this, I have money coming to me because I've been disenfranchised and kept out of resources systemically for a period of time. But I can still take that money and go wolf out, right? So to me, that's the meeting place of what I'll stop short of calling you owe me, meeting, and now I'm going to take this money into my entrepreneurial ventures and do all of those things that you said. But there's still money on the table that if we're going by what is just, would be over here versus where it's been historically.
Yeah, so a wolf would spend zero energy messing around over there. A wolf wouldn't spend energy messing around over there. It is what it is. It's not what it's not. A wolf would not. I always say, if you find money on the ground, pick it up. Right? So, meaning if you're in the rhythm of what you're doing, entrepreneuring, and there's money on the ground, 10K, 50K, and you spend very little to no energy pursuing it, go get it. Pick it up. It's already in the rhythm. But the moment you get in that spaces to say they owe us, those are two things that don't even fit. Entrepreneurship is not about getting free money that's owed to you. That doesn't even work. Entrepreneurship means I build, I create value, I exchange value off the cuff. I don't rely. See, the social justice stuff has bled into entrepreneurship so much that sometimes it blurs the lines. And that's why a lot of entrepreneurship and black entrepreneurship is so fucked up. That's why Nana, his blood pressure goes up talking about it. Because that's why. That is exactly why. Is because the game is almost making it seem like entrepreneurship and employees kind of should be in the same realm, and that's not the case at all. You don't owe me shit. Because in true entrepreneurship, if I'm performing, you coming. Because you don't care what color I am, you see where it's going, you coming to give me some money. Period. Period. There's money there. If there's opportunity there, they are coming. Why do you think that in the 1940s or whatever, black men start entering into professional sports? As much as they couldn't stand us, because I see them wins. Business and wolves don't care. The true story, bears and wolves in slow season will come together and hunt. Real life. In slow season, a wolf and a bear will hunt together. When normally a bear will attack and try to eat a wolf. But he know, hey, is it slow for you? Yeah, it's slow for me. Slow for me too. All right, we going to get down and eat together, and then we going to split up later. Because that's what this wild game is. So don't nobody, an entrepreneur moves with the mindset that don't nobody owe me shit. I got to go get it. And along the way, if somebody's like, oh shit, there's 50 grand right here. Cool. But I'm gonna go fight for this. I'm gonna go, that's not fair. You owe us. Immediately, those two words don't even exist. So you can't take one and go transfer it to the other. I see it happening a lot. I know somebody suing somebody because they didn't get chosen for a grant. The fuck? You didn't get chosen for free money, so you suing a person because they didn't choose you? Sit your ass down. The fuck up. Or go get a job. And you can do that shit all day in a job. And use all them tools to get people, to guilt people into giving you some shit. But in entrepreneurship, sit your ass down. That's real. Next slide.
Sorry. Entrepreneurship is a stoic person's game. How can I serve you?
Stoic person's game is what it is. Because back to we lose so many times. We lose so much. We don't get deals that happen sometimes. People use their friends to do business with them versus us. There's so many times where we fall short in getting where we want. The goal is always just, it is what it is. If not, you'll go crazy with all the L's you taking. You'll go crazy. So you always go back to, how can I serve you better? Okay, you didn't do the job with me this time. What could I do next time to where you would say yes? I want to find out, whatever it is. Well, he comes to my son's bar mitzvahs and all that shit, and you don't show up. All right. He comes to the weddings, the family dinners, the bar mitzvah, whatever all those things are. He shows up as like a family friend. Y'all don't. I'm gonna give him the deal. Mm-hmm. Note taken. Like this ain't a fair game. It's not a fair game. Entrepreneurship in itself is not a fair game. It's a how can I serve you better than everybody else? Mm-hmm. So that's why a lot of black brands are falling off the shelf like wildfire, because they came in this game on some fairness shit and on some just live over the black people money, and companies are like, we're gonna take some black companies in and teach them how to put on a shelf, and all that shit doesn't work because they didn't have the grit to maintain it. They feel like they owed. So now what they do is they'll come up with excuses why those big companies are fucked up and wrong and they really didn't like black people in the beginning. No, they business people. Business people are a different breed. This is the wild. We behave accordingly. Know that you in the wild. Behave accordingly. It's not fair. Who gives a fuck? Behave accordingly. I watched a video about a guy who had no legs, just legs gone at the knees. What happened to your legs? I was swinging my legs over. I live in Florida. I was at a pier just swinging my legs, shit. And the alligator came and ate them.
Shit, I knew.
No reasoning. It's not fair. That's just shit is what it is. It happened. In the wild, nobody gives a fuck about your legs like that. You gotta know. You gotta know. That's the game we playing. Am I too harsh? Am I sounding too harsh right now? Should I chill? I'm obsessive about learning shit. That's why I'm obsessive about learning shit. Next slide.
Soon you will have forgotten all things, and all things will have forgotten you.
One day we're not gonna be here. 100 years from now, 30, 50, 70 years from now, whatever that number is, we're not going to be here. Sometimes we think we have an infinite amount of time to do all the shit we want to do. And we don't. We don't. Some of us is halfway there. I'm halfway there. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, I'm halfway there. We don't got a lot of time. And 200 years from now, very few people will even know your fucking name. Maybe if there's Ancestry.com still 200 years from now, you'll be like a little square. So that's why we got to make the most of this. We got to go hard. We got to make the most of this. We got to make the most of it. What we waiting for? Or what we fucking around for? Or what we chilling for? What we wasting time for? We've already wasted hella time. Already. But we gotta, I don't know if you've ever thought about that. One day you're gonna die. We all gonna die. So while we are here, what can we do to make the most? How much value can we add to this place to make sure that when we do go, we left it a little bit better? We did something. We left it a little bit better than when we got here. That's value add. That's value add. Next slide. All right, I'm gonna run through these pretty quickly because I got about 10 minutes. So, this is 15 commitments. Some of these we already spoke on, but let's run through these. Next slide. These ones are important. Shabisha, it's on you.
Speaking candidly, I commit to saying what is true for me. I commit to being a person to whom others can express themselves with candor. Leaders and teams have found that seeing reality clearly is essential to being successful. In order to see reality clearly, leaders and organizations need everyone to be truthful and not lie about or withhold information. They need candor. Candor is the revealing of all thoughts, feelings, and sensations in an honest, open, and aware way. Gossip is an indication of an unhealthy culture.
Period. Type shit. Standing on it. Next slide.
Eliminating gossip. Even though gossip has long been a part of office culture, it is a key indicator of an unhealthy organization and one of the fastest ways to derail motivation and creativity. Gossip is a statement about another made by someone with negative intent or a statement the speaker would be unwilling to share in exactly the same way if that person were in the room. Gossip is an attempt to validate the righteousness of a person's thinking and is below the line. It is not a comment designed to serve the person being discussed.
Eliminate it from your culture, from your company, from your persona. Don't be, or if you are known as the gossiper, you got to eliminate that from your persona because it will affect the way you entrepreneur. People got to know that you speak with candor, you have integrity, and you're a person of your word. So if you say something, you can say it to somebody's face. Some people gossip and they say, no, like I will say it to their face, so that's why I can keep saying it. No, motherfucker, say it to their face. And it's sometimes juicy, you want to hear it, but the best response is, have you talked to that person? Because that is your brand. It affects your brand. Your brand in business, in your company's brand, your product's brand affects everything. Your brand individually affects the brand of your product. Next slide.
Appreciation. Committing to appreciation, along with avoiding entitlement, helps leaders and organizations grow value and connection in the workplace. Appreciation is comprised of two parts: sensitive awareness and an increase in value. Entitlement arises when rewards and benefits become an expectation instead of a preference. Living in appreciation has two branches: being open to fully receiving appreciation and being able to fully give appreciation. For most, it is more difficult, and people are more afraid to receive appreciation than to give it. To avoid receiving appreciation, people strategically deflect it. Masterful appreciation is sincere, unarguable, specific, and succinct.
Deep. I appreciate you. Some of us are good at doing that, but then we'll say, no, I appreciate you. Nah. One of my weaknesses. I got to get better at that. I have a tough time receiving any kind of appreciation or any kind of like, good job. I don't know. So I'm working on that part. Because the little piece that I thought that didn't affect my success can hinder success in other ways. So I'll be a hypocrite to sit here and try to teach this shit knowing that that's one of the pieces where I'm working on too. Next slide.
I told Mashama he had to learn how to receive, and he said, I don't like the way you're saying that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Living a life of play and rest.
All right, I'm going to just give another one. I probably get an F in this. So, again, I'll be a hypocrite to sit here and teach this shit. I'll start twitching my eye trying to tell you how to do it when this is something I got to work on for real. So, we're going to learn this together right now. Shabisha, teach us.
Creating a life of play, improvisation, and laughter allows life to unfold easily and energy to be maximized. Play is an absorbing, apparently purposeless activity that provides enjoyment and suspends self-consciousness and a sense of time. It is also self-motivating and makes you want to do it again. An imposed nose-to-the-grindstone culture will lead to higher levels of stress, guilt, employee burnout, and turnover. Energy exerted with this type of hard work is wrought with effort and struggle, whereas energy exerted through play is energizing.
Go ahead, take us to church, Shabisha.
Coming out of Victoria's Secret, where like all of the things, that grindstone culture, my first week there, they have you go through these classes, and the guy who was leading the workshop was like, they brought me in because Victoria's Secret had developed a reputation for being a crank and burn culture, that they just cycled you through, and they paid you a lot of money, so they got a lot of brilliant people. But they also had, if you look back at it, a lot of people who went through burnout, like pretty severely. So it's really interesting because many of the people who start at a company like Victoria's Secret, you do it because you love it, because it is playing improvisation, because you get to do lingerie and beauty stuff all day. Like, of course it's fun, right? That's why you want to work for a brand like that. But when you get in there, you realize that it's really tough. And I was one of the people who burnt out. Me and quite a few other people. But it even though that happened, I still had no idea how to do this. I have been learning how to do this because that play is what keeps you motivated, and you will do ridiculous things in ways that grinding out you just won't. So this one is really dear to my heart because I have done it the other way, and it does lead to those things. So this for me is like, I always know when I'm off the spot because it's hard work, and I'm like, ugh, and there's nothing about it that I'm looking forward to. So nothing about it I'm looking forward to. And it's not like, even in play, you'll have things where you're like, I don't like, this is not my favorite part of it, but overall, you're still really excited to do it. I always know when I'm not on it, because it starts to feel like it used to feel back then, which is, what's going to happen? Are they looking at me? I'm going to get fired. What's going to happen? I have to be perfect. I have to, like, but in many ways, I was taught that too, because that's how everybody behaved there. So there was also some level of status to being that, until one day you looked up and somebody quit, or they got let go. It's like, what happened? People used to disappear like a horror movie around there, like gone. Like, what? They were just in the meeting with me. No, they're out. Office gone. Like, it was crazy. But you have to intend, like, be very diligent about creating a life of play and rest, because if you come from a culture where that's not the case, you were rewarded for it, you probably got promoted for it. It's a thing that's really important to me, and I'm trying to figure out how to get something like this to a people who don't really believe they need it until something bad happens.
Great point. Yes, I think entrepreneurship, especially being black in America, you know that you have this thing wasn't built for you. So if you put yourself in a higher, harder gear mentally, because that's the story you tell yourself, you tend to stick to it, especially if it starts working. You don't really know the definition of chilling, relaxing, or fun. So, but it has to be integrated. Or you burn. And when you burn, what good are you to anybody? So I'm saying that because I've heard that so many times. So we're working on that. And to Neil, please. Yeah.
One of the things I think that we miss when we're in these grind cultures is that play actually affords us an opportunity to create. Like, a lot of creativity comes out of play. I think about how along with Mashama and the rest of the team, we kind of facilitate our Monday meetings. I usually have a fun activity. We have a lot of banter in the office. I do pranks all the time on, Mashama, Nana, nobody's safe. But I just look at the energy of the space, and I can really see how creativity actually comes out of making it fun and playing and not being so rigid. As a matter of fact, I didn't have the privilege of going through the course, but Mashama created a whole course around play. And so I think
that shit is hard, though, let me tell you.
I just think that a lot of times we miss out when we just look at it as like worthless, kind of like, excuse my French, but like fucking off or just wasting time. Actually, there is a lot that can come out of play and creating an environment that is enjoyable, because it pours into the people, right? So if I enjoy showing up to work and I don't know if we're going to crack jokes on each other or what, well, that's going to lift my spirit, right? My mind's going to be in a different place instead of going like, damn, I got to go to work tomorrow, right? I got to see Court. He's hella boring, right? So it's a mindset thing, and it really is a space where I've seen some wonderful ideas come from. So I just wanted to add that.
Dope. Beautiful. Hope this was valuable. On that note, I'll see you guys next week. Nana will have your you'll have Nana's full attention for the full class next week. And I've never exited a class, so I don't even know, like, like they say in East Oakland. Yada I mean, yada I'm saying. There's a die, I don't know.